Nobody warns you about the real cost of having a baby. They tell you it will change your life. They tell you it will be the best thing you ever do. But very few people sit down with you before you get pregnant and walk you through the actual financial impact of bringing a new life into the world. The sleepless nights are expected. The love is expected. The financial shock is not. Today, we are breaking down every layer of what having a baby actually costs, from the moment of conception all the way through the hidden long-term expenses that most parents never see coming until it is too late. Number 1, the true cost of pregnancy and birth. Most people think about buying a cot, a pram, and a few baby grows when they think about the cost of having a baby. But the financial reality starts long before you bring your baby home, and it starts much bigger than most people expect. The moment you find out you are pregnant, the costs begin. Prenatal visits, blood tests, ultrasounds, vitamins, and specialist consultations can add up to thousands of dollars before you have had a single contraction. On average, prenatal care alone can reach anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000, depending on where you live and whether any complications arise. If you are in a country without universal health care, that number can be significantly higher. The non-medical costs of pregnancy, including maternity clothing, dietary supplements, and time off work, still create a real financial pressure. Then comes the birth itself. The cost of delivery varies dramatically depending on your location, your healthcare coverage, and the type of birth. A standard vaginal delivery in a hospital setting averages around $14,000 to $15,000 in total medical costs. A cesarean section averages around $26,000 to $29,000. Even for parents with health insurance, the out-of-pocket costs for birth typically range from $2,500 to $3,300. For parents without insurance, the full bill lands directly on them. Complications during delivery, which affect a significant number of births, can push those numbers dramatically higher. A premature baby requiring neonatal intensive care can generate medical bills that dwarf everything else combined. And then comes the postpartum period, a phase most financial guides completely ignore. Recovery takes time. For many parents, that means additional medical appointments, mental health support, physical therapy, and in some cases, medications. The total cost of pregnancy, delivery, and postpartum care combined averages over $20,000. That is before your baby has worn a single nappy. Number 2, the first year expenses. Most parents underestimate. The first year of a baby's life is consistently the most expensive year of parenthood. Most new parents dramatically underestimate what it costs and then discover the reality through a series of financial shocks that arrive week after week. Setting up for a new baby requires a long list of one-time purchases: a cot, changing table, pram, car seat, baby carrier, sterilizer, bottles, bath equipment, baby monitor, and nursery furniture typically cost anywhere from $4,000 to $10,000, depending on whether you choose budget or premium options. Add in feeding costs. Formula alone can run $50 to $150 per month, nappies at $70 to $80 per month, clothing that your baby outgrows every few weeks, and healthcare appointments in the first months of life. And your monthly recurring costs before childcare are already between $500 and $1,000 every single month. But the number that truly blindsides most new parents is childcare. If both parents return to work after birth, which financial necessity increasingly demands, the cost of putting a child in a childcare center globally averages $12,000 to $20,000 per year. In high-cost cities, that number climbs even further. In some countries, childcare costs exceed monthly mortgage or rental payments. The 2026 Care.com Cost of Care report found that the average parent is spending 20% or more of their annual household income on childcare alone. And 31% are actively dipping into their savings just to cover it. Add everything together and the first year of a baby's life, including birth costs, one-time setup purchases, ongoing monthly expenses, and childcare, typically costs between $20,000 and $50,000. The wide range reflects differences in location, lifestyle choices, and healthcare systems. But even at the lower end, that is a number that catches most new parents completely off guard. Number 3, how a baby affects your career and income. The The financial impact of having a baby does not stop at the expenses you pay. It extends into the income you lose. The most immediate income hit is parental leave. Depending on where you live and what your employer offers, parental leave can be fully paid, partially paid, or completely unpaid. For parents who take unpaid or partially paid leave, the gap between their normal income and what they receive during leave can be significant, sometimes running into tens of thousands of dollars over a 3 to 6 month period. But the career impact goes much deeper than the leave period itself. A global survey by children's charity Their World found that 1 in 5 parents around the world, 21%, had to quit their job or drop out of education entirely because childcare costs made returning to work financially unviable. Think about that. Not 1 in 50. 1 in 5. Globally. The same survey found that 76% of parents had to make major financial changes to their lives to fund childcare, including taking on extra work, cutting back on food, and depleting savings. For many parents, and particularly for mothers, having a baby triggers a long-term career disruption that compounds over years. Reduced working hours, missed promotions, career gaps that affect future earning potential, and the psychological weight of managing work and childcare simultaneously all contribute to what economists call the motherhood penalty, a measurable reduction in lifetime earnings that begins at birth and in many cases never fully reverses. The financial cost of a baby is not just what you spend, it is also what you stop earning. Number 4, the hidden long-term costs. Nobody talks about here's where most financial guides about having a baby stop. They cover the pregnancy, the first year, maybe childcare for a few years, and then they move on. But the financial reality of having a child extends across 2 decades, and many of the most significant costs come in phases that feel far away when you are holding a newborn, but arrive faster than you expect. Education costs begin earlier than most parents anticipate. Preschool and early childhood programs are expensive in most parts of the world. As children reach school age, extracurricular activities, sport, music, arts, tutoring, add hundreds to thousands of dollars per year to the family budget. Technology requirements for school mean laptops, tablets, and device upgrades every few years. School trips, uniforms, books, and supplies add a consistent ongoing cost that never disappears. Then comes the housing impact. Research consistently shows that families with children move into larger and more expensive homes than they would otherwise choose. The cost of needing an extra bedroom, a garden, proximity to good schools, and safety in a neighborhood represents one of the largest financial decisions that having a child triggers, and it is one that rarely appears in any estimate of what a baby costs. Then there is the impact on retirement savings. The years when you are raising young children, typically your late 20s to early 40s, are exactly the years that financial planners identify as the most critical window for building retirement wealth. When those years are consumed by childcare costs, reduced working hours, and depleted savings, the compounding impact on your retirement balance can be enormous. Every year you delay or reduce your retirement contributions during the child-rearing years is a year of compound growth you can never recover. When you add the full picture together, pregnancy and birth costs, first-year expenses, career impact, education, housing, and long-term financial opportunity cost, the real cost of raising a child from birth to age 18 in many parts of the world today is estimated between $300,000 and $450,000, excluding higher education costs. That is not a figure designed to discourage anyone from having children. It is a figure designed to make sure you go into parenthood with your eyes wide open and your finances as prepared as they can possibly be. The most important thing you can do before having a baby is start planning financially as early as possible. Build an emergency fund large enough to cover at least 6 months of expenses before you conceive. Understand your parental leave entitlements and plan for any income gap. Research childcare costs in your area before the baby arrives, not after. And do not pause your retirement contributions any longer than you absolutely have to. A baby is one of the greatest experiences life offers. But going into it financially unprepared is one of the most common and most preventable financial mistakes families make. The earlier you plan, the more prepared you will be. And the more you will be able to enjoy every moment without the weight of financial stress, stealing what should be the most joyful chapter of your life. If this video helped you think differently about the real cost of having a baby, hit that like button. It helps Kraftwise reach more people who deserve to know this before it matters. Subscribe for a new money video every single week.